Aloha kako, and welcome to another Mo'olelo Monday. So this one's going to be a little weird. I'm filming it differently, and I'm also recording the audio different. I'm using my built-in microphone on my laptop rather than using the USB mic that I usually use. We'll see how well it comes out, but I'm also filming in the dark. I got up on the wall over here. These are the different artworks that I did throughout my school when I was going to taking art classes in college. And as I was cleaning up my classroom, like going through all my paperwork and everything like that, some of the stuff from home I brought to the school to store for a little while because it's taking up a lot of space. And now that I'm actually leaving the school, I came across my my artwork, and a lot of it had been eaten by silverfish and other bugs. And so I decided that I was just gonna kind of put up all my work up over here and take a look at them, appreciate them one last time before I actually throw them out. I had some teachers stop in, admiring the work, and they were telling me not to throw it away, that I should keep it for my kids or whatever. I'm not even sure if my kids would be interested in it anyway, but I just wanted to look at it one last time before I threw it in the trash and see how far my art has come throughout the years. But yeah. So typically I would put my student artwork up here. This would be my wall of fame, and all the students who actually produced work that was in line with what I asked, as well as quality, would go up on top of this wall. And then from there I would offer the students that would be hung up on the wall a lunch bunch. And so they'd come over for lunchtime to come to the class, and I'd set up video games or even karaoke. I got this little karaoke machine over here. They could sing, I could tell spooky stories, all these different things that I'd offer the kids, to congratulate them for doing such a fantastic job on their artwork. So yeah, so I took all their artwork down, and then I decided to put my artwork up and see what it looked like, take some pictures, and of course open up this video with the artwork in it. So actually looks pretty cool from here. So anyway, as you guys can see, back of the room, I've already got all my furniture except for the desk that I'm using for this video, as well as the chair, my desk chair I'm sitting on. Everything is pushed off to the back of the room so that it can be cleaned up, getting ready for the summertime when the custodials come in and clean up the room. So the reason why I decided to kind of film this in the dark is because my room is haunted, or at least I believe it is. There is some pretty dark history that comes with this particular school. And if you know, you know. If you don't, then it's out there to research and find out about. But the reason why I don't really want to talk about the history of our school here is because I do have students of mine that actually they do subscribe to my channel, and I don't want them getting freaked out, which of course you shouldn't really get freaked out anyway, because all these things that happen, paranormal things that happen, they're just like messages. They're like communicating. Something is trying to speak to you about either something that's not right, or maybe to encourage you so that you continue, imua. So whenever these kids have any issues at home that they talk to me about, and it says these things aren't going to hurt you, they're just stopping by, they're there to visit you, and a lot of these, especially when they're native to this land, a lot of times they have amoku of their own. They have family guardians that look after them. So I just tell them, just relax, just be respectful, listen to the message if they have one, and just let it move along. It's not actually there to to harm you or anything like that. So the lighting's kind of weird. I have my television screen up here displaying some video games. I just got finished with the lunch bunch, and that was my last lunch bunch of the year. Like I said, everything is all packed up, ready to go for the custodians to clean up and whatnot, and I'm ready to leave. This is it. This is the last week of school. This is the last, probably the last Mo'olelo Monday that I'm going to be recording in this area. It's exciting. But yeah, I did want to say that this location has provided me with several stories. Not as many interesting stories as, say, Fort Street, but this place definitely has provided me with a few tales that, get the kids kind of like intrigued, right? For the sixth graders, I tend to tell them a couple of stories around campus because they're on their way out. I usually save those towards the end of the year, and I tell them and remind them not to say anything to their younger brothers or sisters who are still in school, because I don't want them feeling, because the unknown, right? Sometimes it's just kind of whatever. But a lot of places in Hawaii are paranormally charged. Schools all over, no matter where you go, that have something interesting going on in it. And for me, it's just like I keep reminding people, just be respectful. Be respectful of the area that you're in, the people that you are interacting with, the locations that you're interacting with. Just have some decency. And so I guess that's one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about. I mean, it doesn't really trying to think of any personal stories that I've done that required supernatural intervention with me anyway. I know there were stories told to me about my family where sometimes, there was a no-no that was happening, and, there was retaliation. But I can't say that I myself had gotten dinged by the paranormal for doing something disrespectful. I mean, I could have. I just don't remember. I probably don't want to really remember those moments anyway, because, I made a mistake. And those blunders we don't really want to hang on to. Yeah, just as long as we don't repeat our mistakes, it should be okay. But yeah, so basically I'm recording with the lights turned down to see if anything happens during this conversation. I'm also facing towards the back of the room here. My back entry over here by my light switch. There were a couple occasions that I experienced paranormal activity here at this door. One of them, I used to have my desk actually set up right next to the door, to the right as you come in. And I remember one time I was working, and while I was working at my desk, I seen somebody come walking in. And I thought it was another teacher because the stride and the height and everything, and even the coloring, the value tone of the person matched this individual. And so when I turned to look and to greet them and say, "Hey, how's it going?" When I turned and looked, it was actually a billowing mist. This billowing mist came pouring into my room through this back door. And I was just like, oh, it was kind of trippy. And as it was pouring into the room, it started, up maybe about 4.5 feet, 5 feet high. It came pouring in, and then it got lower to the ground until it started to spread out onto the floor, onto the carpet, this maroon colored carpet over here. And this kind of camera is creating this grainy like movement because it's not a low light camera, yeah, so it's trying its best to pick up the color as much as possible. Now, as the mist started disappearing, these little pixels, the pixelation that's moving around and undulating right here, that's kind of like what the mist started to become as it was rolling onto the floor. And so, big dummy me, because I wasn't raised having a cell phone attached to my hip, I totally forgot that my cell phone, it doubles as a camera, right? So I quickly pulled out my phone after I realized that I could be recording the instance, And what ended up happening was, as I was recording, it would just so happen that the mist started to dissipate into the rug, disappearing underneath the carpet. So unfortunately, I missed out on that mist. I missed the mist. And the way this camera is picking up light right now, it's kind of reminiscent of how the mist was as it was slowly blending into the carpet. Yeah. So that was one of the strange things. Another thing that happened to me next to my, while I was sitting at my desk, when my desk was located here, was I was working on my computer. I was sending emails and I was getting my lesson plans ready. But as I was working, and it was of course before school started, it was early. It was like 7 in the morning. And as I was working, I remember hearing this kind of tapping. It's like just three little taps, just like somebody was drumming their fingers on a desk. But it was coming from this area right here. So I have my file cabinet that you can see right here standing, and right here in this area is this white closet. Now the closet used to actually be located right next to this door. I had moved it from here all the way to this side because when the closet was here and my desk was located below my artwork here, I had storage, cardboard boxes storage all inside this area where this closet is sitting, and that's where I heard the little tapping noise is that noise. And I also had my my art cart. Where's my art cart? So right here where my thumb is, that's my art cart, and it's on wheels right here. And my art cart used to be located in this corner too, and it was easy for me to move in and grab my supplies and use them for whatever I needed. But basically, I hear this tapping while I'm working, so I turn and look towards the corner, and there's nothing moving, So I go back to work on my computer, start going again, and then soon after, not even like 10 seconds later, I hear the same drum. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. All right, so I stood up. I decided to go take a look because I did have cardboard boxes that, weren't folded down. They weren't flat. So I went to go take a peek inside the boxes to see if there was like any kind of animal, like rats or mice or something like running around inside the box looking for bugs to eat. And when I walk over, I look in all my boxes. I smash my stuff down, and there's nothing, right? And so I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I'm waiting. There's nothing. There's no tapping anymore. Nothing's making noise. It's all quiet. And I kind of wait there for a little while, walk back to my desk, sit back down, and I start working on my computer again. And a little while after working on my computer, I hear once more that tapping noise. I'm like, okay, something is acting up with me. And so I stop working and I just kind of wait. But nothing really happens. So I stand up and I go next door to the class that's connected to mine. And I asked one of the gals that are working inside there, I says, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you come inside my class really quick? And so she's kind of like, oh, yeah, sure. So I sit down at my desk. I start working on my computer. She sits down at the chair in front of my desk. I usually put the kids who are acting up on that chair. So she was sitting on top of the hot seat. And she's just kind of like, what? And I was like, just kind of hang out. Just kind of hang out with me. So she's like, oh, okay. So I start working on my computer. She starts grabbing artwork off the desk, student artwork. She's like, oh, wow, this is nice. And as soon as she starts looking at stuff, she sees something in the corner light up and pop. Like it was a balloon, like a little white balloon that kind of formed to about this big, and then it just popped. And what I saw from my peripheral as I was working, I saw a shadow appear into about the size of a softball, and then it disappeared. So from what she saw with this white light, this light that became a solid ball, and I saw the shadow balloon just appear right above the cardboard boxes here, and then disappear. Immediately after blowing up, it popped, it burst. And she kind of stood up and she's like, whoa, what was that? And I said, oh, did you see that? And she goes, yeah, what was it? And I says, I don't know, but something is over there, and it's just like it's just tapping, 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 tapping on top of the cardboard boxes or some of the desks or something. And so um, she's like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, for real. It is like it just sounds like this rattling." And so she's like, "No way." And I says, "Yeah." And so she sat back down. She's overlooking. She says, "I don't know what. I didn't hear her tapping, but I saw that light just kind of grow, and then it just disappeared." And I said, "Yeah, I saw it too. It kind of looked like a balloon blowing up, and then it popped." And she goes, "Yeah, kind of like that." But then she had some stuff hanging up over here that was reflective. So she thought maybe it could have been one of the reflective stickers. So she was investigating, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted, somebody else to be in here to look around and see that, I wasn't going nuts or anything. But she came back and she sat down and she's talking to me about it. And as we're talking, I hear, both of us actually hear this. We hear the tapping. And she goes, "Oh, what was that?" And I said, "That's the tapping I've been hearing." And so she's like, "Holy shoot, and then she was like, "Is there rats or something in the box?" She says, "There's nothing. I already checked over there. There's nothing there, but something keeps tapping." So very, very interesting. So this location was also the place where we heard the voice of a man during one of my. I told this story before in a previous video, but there was a story. The story I told was about this guy whose voice was talking, and I couldn't hear it. Some of the kids were freaking out. My daughter heard it. She tells me that there's a man in the corner over here talking about the end of the world. I told the kids if they had their phones on, if it was on YouTube or something like that, I said they need to turn their phones off because that's not acceptable. Kids got up, checked their bags. They only had 3 kids that brought their phone. None of them had it on. And then once they came back to sit down, more kids started hearing the voice. And I said, "This isn't funny. It needs to stop." And when I said that, there was 3 bangs. Bam, 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 like slams on top of the cardboard boxes that were actually sitting here. And so I stood up real quick. I kind of looked inside the darkness. I turned around, hit the light switch. Everything was still. All the kids that were actually sitting on the carpet back here in this circle, they were all pushed up against the back wall over there, all whimpering, all crying, except for one kid. And that one kid expresses that they didn't hear anything. They didn't hear the talking, they didn't hear the banging, they didn't hear anything. Meanwhile, the other kids were expressing that not everybody heard it, but they heard the talking. My sister was here during that event, and she said she heard some man talking too. So I didn't hear it, unfortunately. But I want to say maybe about 8 people inside a class of 25 heard the talking. I want to say everybody except for that one person that was staying seated in the middle of the carpet, everybody heard the banging. But some people heard only one loud bang. Others, like myself, heard 3 bomb, bomb, bomb successive bangs. So it was like, okay, that's really interesting. But yeah, for some reason it's the corners, that door over there with the mist that came in, this corner over here, where not only did the guy's voice, the banging, the tapping, and that white flash occur, but I've also heard this year, since I moved the cabinet here, I've also heard a woman whispering. Okay, and now because we have women who work in the room next door, I assume it's them talking. But the one time that I went to go check, because it sure sounded like it was coming from this cabinet area, it could have been coming from the windows, like somebody was outside the classroom and their voice was coming into the windows, which is why I went outside to go check to see if they needed help, because the teacher next door, when she leaves her class to go and talk to a student who's being rowdy, I'll usually stick my nose in there to make sure that those other kids that are left in there aren't fooling around. Anyway, so when I went to go do that, I was walking over past my desk to go and check on the students, because I heard what I thought was a teacher coming in from the windows. Instead, I hear the teacher, her voice was actually coming through the door right here. So the voices I was hearing coming out from the corner over here wasn't the teacher. So I went from the door to this yellow door, stuck my head out, and there was nobody there. It's just a blank hall with, I'm the very, very last building in this row, so there's no other buildings past me. It's a housing. And when I stuck my head out the door to look, there was nobody there. And I know it wasn't talking from the housing because the talking was coming in right from the window, and it was a whisper. or at least it was coming from the closet over here. So this closet is kind of strange. Anyway, so that's the corner over here. This corner back here is where my telephone was, okay, or is. I also keep this chair that I'm sitting on next to the telephone. And the weird thing about this corner is I've seen shadow movement and all kinds of other strange feelings that I get from being back here. Now, I did bring my K2 meter in here to check out that area, and I found out that the phone does give off quite a bit of EMF. Now, the funny thing about the EMF, right, is either a person can, get the weird feeling of being watched, or they can get a little bit paranoid, they start hallucinating, or they can feel chicken skin goosebumps due to electromagnetic interference. But on the other hand, EMF could technically also provide energy for manifestation. So it's kind of like a two-edged sword there, right? It's like, so is the EMF causing people to hallucinate and see apparitions, or is the EMF providing energy to a apparition to manifest, which is what we're seeing? What I prefer, or what I believe, is that the energy is being used to help manifest an apparition. And the only reason why I say that is because usually in an area that's supposedly strange, and people have experienced supernatural interactions, they all usually have the same type of interaction. So in my corner there, more than one occasion I've heard the kids saying that they see a shadow person moving over there. So why not a dog? Why not a bird? Why not, scratchy lines or lightning bolts streaking across the night? It's always a shadow person in the corner over there. So it really makes me believe that electromagnetic fields feed manifestation rather than causing hallucination. I mean, the hallucination could be a person who doesn't really experience paranormal activity, having their waves in their that are hitting them, the energy waves of the sound waves and all that, hitting them differently and tuning them in more acutely to the paranormal, where they can actually see something strange. Yeah, so like a hallucinogenic or some kind of drug, yeah, that it causes your brain to see differently. Some people experience some really insane things when on some kind of hallucinogenic. But yeah, so that's that corner over here. Now, as it comes for this corner by my sink here, not too much has happened there. I mean, I do have a hanging wall clock, and that sucker, I've been through 4 hanging wall clocks within, like, I want to say 3 years. Like, this is one period in time where the clocks would keep dying. It was really, really weird. Like, and the batteries would die really quick, and it would lose time. It starts off by not telling the correct time. Like, it always goes to some bizarre time, and then it stays there. Like, it stops working to the point where it gets to a terrible time. Like, it's totally off. Like, it could be 10 o'clock in the morning, and it'll say 1:30 in the afternoon. And it'll get there, and it'll run fine. It'll run that 1:30 time until you go in the back, fix it back to 10 o'clock or whatever time it is. And then again, it'll get messed up. So thought it was a faulty clock, took the clock, changed it out. Custodian brought in a new clock, put that one up. Thing was working fine for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden the darn clock just like completely kaputs, like died. Brand new clock. The darn thing, the gears and everything just weren't turning. Switched the battery out, nothing was causing it to work. So I had to throw that one out. Got a new clock, put that sucker on top, and again, that one started telling time poorly a couple of, I want to say maybe 6 months later. That one lasted a little bit longer, but even that one was it was going on the fritz, and so I was like, dang, man, I mean, these clocks are either made poorly or something is affecting them, causing them to work, to malfunction, to work out of order. And so, basically, that's pretty much it. I mean, like on this door, sometimes we would hear the handle jiggling, sometimes we'd hear knocking, we check out the outside, like the kids would check, I would check. There's nobody in the walkway. back there too, same thing would happen. We'll hear, the knocking like that, and we will walk over to the door. There's nobody back there. And a lot of times when we're doing our Kolea Club, where we do our spooky stories, the kids all have gone for the day. I'm the only person that has students with me at the end of the day, and since we're located all in the back of the school, like there would be nobody back here like hanging out. It's not like we're by the cafeteria where they have after school programs, or not like we're by the office where teachers and parents are coming in through the office making noise. No, we're all the way in the back. Nobody's back here. Everybody that's back at this far of the school, they want to leave early. They go leave early. So, yeah. Anyway. So, I mean, like, I think that in itself, I mean, should tell you that this land is very, very charged. Yeah, the energy here in this particular area is charged, and I do my best to be respectful. I don't try to make waves or anything like that. There are moments where, because I'll tell the kids that these things can't hurt you. You can't. They don't bother you. They're just here to visit and go. But there are moments when something will happen, then I have to step in and tell whatever it is to bugger off, because they're messing with the children too much. Yeah, they get a little physical sometimes, or they start tapping the kid, start poking them, and the people would just be like, the kids would be looking around. And I know already when the kids start, getting interactions, because they'll all be working at their desk with their heads on. All of a sudden, one kid, and in one particular area, I'm not going to say what area it is, but one particular area, one kid will just pop their head up and just look, at the two people next to him, and then they'll be like rubbing someplace, and then they'll go back to work, and then you'll see them look up again, and then get mad at the person next to them and say, "Hey, stop touching me," and then the kid that's next to him will get upset and say, "I'm not touching you," and I'll tell that kid that's being falsely accused, I'll tell him, "It's okay, relax. I know you didn't touch him. I didn't see you touch him." And then the kid will be like, "Well, somebody's touching me." And I says, "Yeah, it's okay. It's probably an accident, But I try to just keep their mind off of it, because I don't want them to feed into it, yeah, and go home and get that like fear kick in, because it's such an unnecessary emotion when it comes to these kinds of things, yeah, that are trying to either tell us something, give us a message, or it's just trying to say something, trying to make itself known. And then these kids, they don't know any, they don't know the protocols about like what you should do. Like my family would say things like a lot of local families would, say, "Oh, you don't do this, you don't do that," superstitions and all that. We talked about that earlier in a previous video, but yeah, those are the kinds of things that we kind of keep in our mind whenever we deal with those kinds of things. Yeah, we don't like bring it out into the open and just start talking about it. I mean, like, for me, it's intriguing. And for other people, they're all like, no, I won't say anything. I'm not going to say a thing about all this weird stuff that's happening. I prefer not to say anything about it, because if I talk about it more, it's going to happen or occur more often. And they might have a point, they might acknowledge it, and then it realizes that you can see it or hear it, and it'll come back and it'll keep bugging you just to find out if you can actually pass on whatever they want to say, or experience what it is they want you to experience, whether it's some kind of fear or some kind of emotion that they themselves are going through, or whatever. So anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I didn't really see anything happen. I mean, earlier I did have this brown cardboard picture. It was hanging right here. I taped it right here earlier, and it fell right at the beginning of recording this Mo'olelo Monday. So I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, I'll play that video for you. You'll see it falling off the wall. But as soon as I started recording the Mo'olelo Monday, it fell right off the wall. So it's probably due to the weak tape that I put on top of it. But you never know, right? You never know. And so I thought filming this way, perhaps something would happen behind. You guys would see something. I don't remember seeing anything moving when I was talking. So, but it doesn't hurt to look back and see if anything slipped by without noticing. Because even sounds, right? These things talk. We don't hear it. Not always. Sometimes I'll hear it and then rewind the recording and find out. Oh yeah, something was talking. But then when you record the thing back and you find out, oh yeah, there's a voice there. So maybe there's a voice on top of this recording right now that's hiding in the background. I don't know. But yeah, long story short, this is my final Mo'olelo Monday probably inside this room, since this video is actually going to be coming up. I'm recording this early, so this video will be coming up next week, Monday. I think it's the June 2nd. And June 2nd, I'm going to have this as scheduled to come out on June 2nd on Monday. I won't be here. On the island, I won't be working on anything like this because I'm going to the Big Island come the weekend. I'll be going up to do a talk story. I'm actually going to be promoting my book, promoting my new book, my Hua Ka'ipo at PE Level Point, at the Kona Stories bookstore in Keauhou Shopping Center. So, cute little bookstore that they have over there is offering my book. I'm not sure if it moved or anything like that. I know the bookshop owner says if it's selling, we'll continue to do business, but if it's not really something that the community is looking for or is interested in, then the book will be coming off the shelf and I can come and collect it. But yeah, when we went to go check a couple months after taking the books up there, they didn't move, so that's unfortunate, but it's okay. We're trying something. We're trying anything that we can to spread the word about our story so other people can enjoy them. Yeah, that's the idea, is to have our story touch the lives of others in an entertaining way. So yeah, anyways, I think that's going to be it for today. Just the tales about my classroom. I mean, there's more stuff, like even the class next door, the gal that works next door, she doesn't want anything to do with paranormal activity. She doesn't, nope. She doesn't like anything that happens over there. But the other gal that works with her, the one that I usually talk to and the one that I invited into my room, she has stuff happening to her too. She's very sensitive. Like, she can feel the energy. And so I'll be the one talking to her whenever anything happens here, and I'll call her to help me. But the other gal that works on top there, she's kind of like I feel like I'm a magnet. Like, I draw these things toward me, whereas she's propels them away. Like, she moves them away. She has this energy that keeps her safe from those kinds of interactions. So kind of cool. I mean, like, some people, the magnetic is a push and some is a pull, and because she doesn't like any of that stuff, it's fortunately she has that energy where it pushes it away. So that's good on her. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine her having this pulling like I do and being like how she is. Like, she's scared of it. But I know there are some people who are like me, where they find it like so interesting to have strange things happen around them, but they have the energy like her where they kind of push things away. I've met people like that, and they're like, oh, I wish I could see something, I wish I could experience something, I wish da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know what to say to them. I really don't. I'm just like, and those are the kinds of people that when they experience that one thing in their life, that's the story that they will go back to, and that's going to be like, hit them hard. Like, that one story is going to be so poignant, so such a big influence in their life when it comes to paranormal. Like, they will be like, no, I totally believe, but that's the only thing that's ever happened to me. I hear stories about that, and I kind of feel a little bit bad that they aren't able to experience more, because it's so fascinating to have see shadows, hear voices, and all that other kind of stuff. Um, just in your daily life, and you'd be like validated through electronics, like these recordings, audio recordings and stuff like that. So very interesting, very very interesting, very cool. But yeah, kind of what I wanted to end on while I'm here anyway is my classroom and how it's pretty creepy. Like there will be moments where I'll feel like something is around, and then other times it'll just be normal. Like right now, it feels decent. I mean, like the energy feels okay. It does feel like there's something around. Maybe it doesn't want to make itself known, but it does feel like there's something around. Um, but maybe just waiting for me to move on, leave for the day so I can come out and hang out. So, yeah. Last time recording Mo'olelo Monday inside this classroom. Got all my stuff packed up for the summer. I'm excited because I'm starting my new journey. Yeah, and respect, man. Having respect for these things that we can't see is such a big deal. We're having a conversation about this yesterday. In fact, my sister and I were having a conversation when we were having dinner or something like that. We were talking about respecting like plants. A lot of people, like science and whatnot, is starting to reveal certain things about like animals and how truly intelligent and how truly individualistic and unique they are, and their communication. And it's like, wow, we thought these were just stupid animals that we eat, but in actuality, they communicate far beyond what we can, or at least we waste our time a lot with communication in a way of drama. Yeah, they are very very clean cut to the point survival, so it makes their communication even more to me more important. Like the stuff that we communicate, the stuff that we watch, the stuff that we consume, it's such a waste of time. You're not really learning anything. You're not really taking anything from what you're listening to. Yeah, you get these TV shows about people having drama about who they're gonna date, who the rose is gonna go to, right? They have they share none of their real talents on these shows. They just, oh, why didn't he choose me? Why didn't she choose me? I mean, it's just like wah wah wah. But some people find entertainment in that, but that kind of stuff, I just find it dumb. Anyway, coming back to the communication and how animals seem to be getting brighter, my sister brings up the idea about, I think it was my sister I was talking to, about plants and how they communicate, how they move, and how they do things. Like people are starting to, oh, that's right, because we were talking about vegetarians, vegans, and we're talking about meat eaters and stuff, right? And kind of made a joke like, oh, look, you're killing the poor animals and da 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 because you're eating them. And then it's like, well, you're eating the food that the animals eat, so technically you're starving them to death, which to me is worse than, killing them for food, for sustenance. You're like starving them to death. You're destroying the forest, you're destroying the plants, the things, their ecosystem where they live. So not only are you starving them to death, you're also taking away their homes as a vegetarian or vegan or whatever they're called. But anyway, that's kind of what it came down to, was we started talking about the vegetables and plants and how they also communicate, how they also move, and how they also think. They can. They have their own way of thinking and communicating with each other. They know how to tell their community, the rest of the plants that are around them, when there's a person coming by that's dangerous. They have an axe, they get scared. They see a chainsaw, they get scared. These are feelings that are actually communicated between trees, and they all know when you start coming in. So it's like these animals that they memorize your face, right? So if you smash a bee, not only does it release a smell that calls other bees towards you for them to attack you because you have the smell of a dead bee on you, but they also communicate with each other to remember who it is that attacked. They'll see you coming back again, and they'll start getting all angry, buzzing around. That's how animals are. They can communicate. That's the same thing with trees. And then I told my sister, now take a step even further into the crazy. I mean, you have people who are disrespecting other people. I mean, like, we are basically the same. I mean, some people say because your skin tone, because of what you know, because of what you accomplished in your life, you're a lower life form than I am. That's between people. That's ignorance. And then you have like people talking down to animals and say, that's just a stupid dolphin. That's just a stupid fish. That's just a stupid spider. That's just a dumb mammal. It's just crazy because they're not stupid. They're actually very intelligent for what they need to do to keep the world going. They're actually very, very intelligent. And then you go even a step further about the plants and how they communicate and how they have feelings and emotions. And you take a step further and get down to the nitty gritty of elements: water, fire, earth, wind. All of these things have emotion. In our culture, these are the things that are respected because they are also in existence with us. They also live. They also breathe. They consume. They communicate. All these things work together, right? And so when you can pay respect to a rock, and not disturb a rock by picking it up and skipping it over the still waters of a pond, the pond that lays hundreds of bodies to rest. People wonder why they get haunted. People wonder why they get bad luck. People wonder why they get cursed. And it's because the respect is missing. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I am leaving this place. Nothing against certain families, but I see a trend. I can see the pattern and the way things are moving. The children nowadays are missing that vital value in their ohana, and that is ho'ihi. They are missing the understanding that adults are on a different wavelength than they are. They are in the capacity of learning when they come to school. Adults are in the capacity of teaching. And when they start disrespecting the kumu, the source of that knowledge, kumuike, it becomes a problem. Because the kids that are actually here trying to learn miss out on a lot of education. Because you have these people, these bozos, playing around in class and not being able to zip the lip. Pa'akawaha, hanakalima. They're not doing that anymore. They are just being annoying. And it's really sad because all these notes go back to the families, and the families really don't care. They're like, well, I mean, like, what's next, right? We have to move on to... Hi. No, come. Where?
To the luncheon.
Oh, yeah. I'll be down. I'm just finishing up my mo'o level. Yeah. Okay, I'll be there. So, as I was saying, so respect is so important, and that's something that I feel is starting to disappear. The pay was one thing, right? But because I was working with I love kids. I love kids, and I love watching them learn. I like seeing them get that aha moment and using that knowledge. But sometimes, man, it gets a little bit rough. And before, when there was maybe like 5 kids in the class that were messing around, well, like 15 of them was doing the work, it was okay because you could tell them, hey, zip the lips, Sam. Hey, zip the lips, Chon. Whoever is acting up, easy. Now, there's like 5 kids who are constantly listening, and the 15 kids who are acting up and not listening, being disrespectful, talking over, and I see this all the way from the 6th grade, from the top of this school where it goes to the top of 6th grade, all the way down to kindergarten. We have kids that are just like, they just don't care because that's the way their values are at home. That's the way because, I mean, come on, seriously, elephant in the room, it's home. It all starts at home, and that's how it's always been, right? You can see the kids who actually have parents who pay attention. You can see the kids who have support when they go home. You can see the kids whose families appreciate an education. You see the kids who are around parents who are stable mentally, emotionally, right? Stable. They don't have any qualms with how excited the kids see when they see a teacher. When a parent starts feeling inept, or when they start feeling like they're not good enough because their kid keeps calling out the name of a teacher, and they start looking at the teacher with stink eye, with the evil eye, because their kid is always talking about them at dinner. Oh, today we did this with Miss Shannon. Today we did that with Mr. Wendell. You know, all these people are coming into their lives because their children are there for most of their day. These parents get jealous, envious. They try to play it down like, you never learn nothing. I know how to do this better. You know what I mean? You have all these people who know, but do they help their kids? Do they spend time? Are they constantly working on their phone while the kids are on their tablet or playing Xbox or PlayStation? Are you getting off your phone to have a conversation with your kids? I mean, that's basically what it is. And I am getting text from the beautifuler half of my of my existence. Apparently there's some kind of get-together meeting, but I wanted to try and film this Mo'olelo Monday before going to this final get-together. But anyway, for those of you that are parents who watch this video and who are there for your children, and to tell them that what they're doing is good, that what they try to do is amazing. Yeah, taking those steps to move forward and not pulling them back because you see them improving better than you, and you got to feel like, oh, why is my kid, kid think he can do this better than me? No, I'm the only person, and holding them back for some strange reason. You know, if you're one of those parents to support your children, then I love you, and I thank you so much for providing so much for your keiki, and for making it easier for the teachers here, anywhere, to do their job, so that the rest of the families can have kids that learn too. So I appreciate you, and I love you, and I respect you for that, because your kids are the ones that I came to school for. Your kids were the ones that I came here excited to teach to. Your kids were the ones that I woke up in the morning with a smile on my face, excited to see them. A lot of mornings I woke up this past year and I was just like dreading coming to school. I don't want to be there. I'm going to see these kids. I'm going to see those kids. That's terrible. From just a short amount of time, just the past 3 years. And everybody's going to say, oh, because the pandemic. Bruh, if anything, the pandemic should have made things stronger at home. You guys should have had better bonds because of how things happen, especially in Hawaii, the way are supposed to be tighter with our families. Things should have gotten better, not worse. Parents are so quick nowadays to get rid of their kids, take them to practice, take them to school, drop them off with a sitter. Gotta go. Why? So they can go home, have some wine. So they can go hang out with their kunana. Oh, I'd rather be with my boyfriend. I'd rather be with my girlfriend. My kids are driving me crazy. Give them back to my ex. Let them watch them. It's like, really? That's what we're going to have? And then you guys get offended when your kid gets called into the principal's room because they're acting out? These poor darlings have nothing but teachers and the support staff at school to talk to, their friends at school. And they are not going to get guidance from people that are their same age or a couple years younger and older. You cannot rely on other people's children to steer your children into the right direction. It's supposed to be the adults. We are supposed to be the source of their learning, not for their pain. Sorry, I don't mean to get emotional about this, but I mean, I do love being here with these kids. I do. Because when it's not in the capacity of academics, all of them are fun. They can all have a great time. We just went to Camp Erdman, like I said last video, and I had a great time, even with the kids who are rotten. You know, had a great time with all of them because they are good kids when it comes to just cruising, hanging out. When it comes to academics and settling down and sitting back, they don't have that respect. They don't. And that falls upon the parents, right? Us. So we don't respect our kids. We don't respect our neighbors. How can we respect the animals? How can we respect the vegetation? How can we respect the elements, the rocks, the fire, the water, the air? Cannot. If you can respect the rock, if you can get yourself to the point of respecting the land that you walk on, the aina, then you're in a good place. Right? The kama aina, the maka ainana. All of these words, aina, inside the Hawaiian vocabulary. Maka ainana, ku aina, kama aina. There are people of the land, respecting the land, because guess what? We know where our goods come from, and it comes from the earth. We are people of the earth. And once we start disrespecting the rock that we stand on, our foundation gets shaky, and we lose everything on top, all the way to the top. So, like I said, one of the main reasons for me leaving, besides the fact that pay has just been getting lower and lower every year and the cost of living has been going up and up every year, is because the kids are no longer doing it for me. A lot of it was love, and now it's starting to turn into regret. And I don't want to regret anymore in my life. I want to keep my heart full. I want to keep my passion going. So, from the last time, Mo'olelo Monday from my classroom, my haunted classroom. Aloha, ahui ho, malama pono.